Y'all are going to be sick of this quote, but Dormammu, we've come to bargain. Let's get into it. You are here. We've been in the appropriations process for months. If you want to get caught up on where those bills are, please go see my appropriations playlist. You'll see the matchup videos that compare House and Senate versions of the bills so far. I also have another flowchart in that playlist going over the appropriations broadly and how a CR shutdown would play in. Now, the current state of play is that we are definitely heading to some sort of stopgap, aka the continuing resolution. This is the whole nonsense that happened in March that the Democrats did absolutely nothing with. The president has sent over his anomalies, meaning the CR is typically going to say business as usual. What we have right now is just going to stay steady. What he's asking for is some adjustments. This includes adding some more SNAP funding because they don't have enough money to meet their current state obligations in FY26. I'm going to say it again. The SNAP cuts that happened in the big beautiful bill are attrition based, not service provision, and they don't start affecting service provision until later. They're also trying to make sure they have enough money to collect all these tariffs. We'll get into more of that in just a second. The other big fix is the DC fix, making sure that DC can spend its own tax money because for some reason the Republicans coolly decided to take that out in the March CR, and that's what we've been operating under for the last 6 months, which is probably part of the reason why Mayor Bowser up in DC has been trying to cuddle up to Trump in some method. Now, most Republicans are hoping to just shoehorn the Democrats into this arrangement and get them to a funding measure of some kind. Currently looking at about November for the CR duration, but some Republicans want to go all the way into 2026, which is ridiculous. If the Dems refuse to play ball with this, we would be headed towards a shutdown. Now, what they would probably do is say, hey, let's not shut down, but we've got some things that we want. What Schumer and the rest of the Senate Democrats have signaled so far is they want the ACA subsidies, currently extended through the end of this year, to go into 2026. Otherwise, premiums for ACA marketplace insurees would skyrocket by about 75%. So that's pretty unacceptable. They're also flirting with the idea of trying to fix things from the big, beautiful bill. This includes rural hospital fixes and also rolling back some of those cuts to Medicaid. Seems very unlikely that they would get that. To be honest, Republicans are even trying to look at another big, beautiful bill, another reconciliation bill, because the so-called fiscal hawks, especially in the House, didn't get enough cuts the first time, and they're just lecherous vampires, I guess. And the other thing congressional Dems are really looking at is they want this rescission stuff to stop. Rightfully so. It's been an absurd amount of rescissions originating from the executive branch rather than congressional, which is where it's supposed to be happening. Now, if you've been listening to my rantings and ravings this week, you know that I think they need to add something else per we the people. And that is a SCOTUS jurisdictional exception per the exceptions clause in the Constitution. This is in Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2. In the before times, Congress is the one who determined SCOTUS's docket. Through a couple of judiciary acts, they have ceded that power over to the judiciary, and that is clearly working, especially with the likes of Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Alito thinks, by the way, that Congress has no power over his docket, because he's an idiot. Why do I say this? Well, back to this whole rescissions thing, these have actually been stopped very effectively by both federal district judges and courts of appeals. The International Court of Trade, followed by the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals, struck down the tariffs under IEEPA, and Federal District Judge Amir Ali and the DC Court of Appeals struck down the pocket rescission measure. But SCOTUS, I'm going to keep underlining, they're trying to upend all of those judges and say, y'all don't know what you're talking about. We're going to let the pocket rescission thing happen for now, which because of the timing means essentially they're going to allow it. And also, we're going to take up the IEEPA case this fall, which that's like the fastest SCOTUS has ever moved ever. Justice Sotomayor on the court recently said that it looks like the executive branch has the SCOTUS on speed dial. And yeah, that seems about right. So what I'm saying is that if Dems want any of these things that they're trying to negotiate to actually stick, they need to bring these people into line. It's called the separation of powers, people. Also, 10 federal judges recently interviewed with NBC to say how fed up they are with having their own jurisprudence questioned and constantly undermined by SCOTUS, and I think that's correct. I think they should be frustrated. And since Congress constitutionally has the responsibility over SCOTUS, it's their job to step in here. So ideally what would happen is Dems would make these demands, they would add the SCOTUS jurisdictional exception, and then we would get to a funded CR. Now, of course, Republicans could say, we don't like any of this. No, no. And we would head towards a shutdown. And this is where Dems would have to be willing to get uncomfortable and hold the line. I guess you're going to have to live without some of the perks of a funded government for a little while until the Republicans stop being authoritarians, or at least pretend to. I'm going to give you guys the same pep talk I gave you through the big, beautiful bill. This is a grapple. Marathon, not sprint. Chess, not checkers. We need to take this one bit at a time. Right now, our best hope of stopping both the economic and the erosion of the separation of powers bleeding is this SCOTUS jurisdictional exception. This is an elegant, simple, and most importantly, constitutional way to get us surviving to the 2026 midterms. And I'm going to say it right now. Any Democrat who has been made aware of this possible strategy by their constituents, as in you're the one who needs to make them aware, and does absolutely nothing, not even lip service to this issue, deserves to be primaried in the spring. I said what I said. Enjoy menacing your staff, and stay tuned.